Good evening and welcome to BATV News. I'm Keneal Gale. The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, says it has doubled its 2018 budget to pump more resources into fighting electricity theft. The energy company has invested almost $30 million to detect, prevent and respond more efficiently to instances of electricity theft. Jamila Maitland reports.
With more than 200,000 households and businesses stealing electricity daily, JPS says it's ramping up its method to combat the issue that is causing the company billions of dollars in losses annually.
We are serious about combating electricity theft. In fact, to show you how serious we are, just this year alone, we have budgeted a spend of close to $30 million. And to put it in context, this represents close to a third of our entire capital expenditure for the year. So we are very, very serious about combating electricity theft.
Senior Vice President of Customer Services, Ramsey McDonald, says the impact of electricity theft is widespread and it affects the quality and reliability of the country's power supply.
About blows transformers and destroys the infrastructure on our network. But not only does it damage the JPS network, it damages our customers, those who pay their bills, their equipment in their home.
Meanwhile, Director of Losses, Operations and Analytics at the JPS, Rashid Anderson, says thousands of instances of electricity theft have already been detected since the start of the year, and over 75,000 throw-up wires have been removed.
Just this year alone, we have uncovered about 5,000 of these irregularities or electricity theft. And these irregularities are not the common ones that we see probably in inner city communities, in the hardened areas where it's visible of a line that's on our network. These are more sophisticated means, persons using bypass mechanisms, persons using switches and all sort of technology in order to bypass the electricity. So we're saying we are able to, and it's only a matter of time.
The company says it's hoping that with the increased investment, the team will be better able to address the issue and bring about effective change. For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
Meanwhile, the Jamaica Public Service says it has already lost $32 million from electricity theft since the start of the year, with businesses accounted for a large percentage of that figure. Norja Francis Williams tells us more.
JPS's Senior Vice President of Customer Services, Ramsey McDonald, says contrary to popular belief that inner city communities are mostly responsible for electricity theft, businesses and individuals living in more affluent areas account for a significant portion also.
Here in Jamaica, we have a tendency to think that the theft of electricity is an inner city community problem for those who can't afford it, and for those who we can irregularly see stealing through various methods. However, the reality is electricity theft knows no boundaries. It does not discriminate. It's widespread across the length and breadth of this island. And in many cases, what we tend to see in the inner city communities sort of pales into comparison to what happens in the more affluent communities, in homes and in business places.
The Customer Services VP says while more residents steal electricity, the financial impact when businesses do so is more devastating.
Sometimes when you catch a business place stealing, what they steal sometimes is equivalent to probably 50 to 60 of those persons in the communities that they're doing throw-ups. So the reality is that at this stage, we're going to have to be more strategic in our approach to the electricity theft. We're going to win some, we're going to lose some. But the whole idea is that what we're driving at is reducing it overall for all Jamaicans.
Mr. McDonald explains that these businesses have more advanced technologies which are able to steal electricity, oftentimes going undetected.
In most cases, you see a lot of it in the residential side. However, the impact obviously is greater in the commercial side, because what happens whenever there's theft in the commercial side, it's a greater volume in terms of what is extracted. But in the residential side in those communities, it's still there in large numbers. But what you see happening is a lot more sophisticated in its approach. So they have more technical appliances, equipment to extract electricity in this process.
He points out that there is a reward for persons who report cases of electricity theft, but this often goes unclaimed, as many people do not believe electricity theft is a crime. For BATV News, I'm Norda Francis Williams.
Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett began meeting with key tourism stakeholders today in an effort to discuss concerns raised about entertainers being hired within hotels. A media release from the Tourism Ministry said Minister Bartlett has scheduled meetings with members of the Tourism Linkages Council with a specific focus on the sports and entertainment network. The meetings will review, clarify, and discuss concerns raised regarding entertainers being hired within hotels. Minister Bartlett says it is important that any misleading information be resolved and every tourism worker feels empowered and included within the tourism value chain. He adds that the ministry will also be looking closely at the demand for entertainers within the sector, the number of local entertainers, and the challenges being faced, among other things. Discussions with the Tourism Linkages Council will also include transportation providers and craft entrepreneurs. Minister Bartlett will also meet with Spanish hotel group Invatel tomorrow to discuss data collection to help inform the tourism demand study. They will also discuss cooperation on a number of matters, including local purchases of goods and services. Minister Bartlett also notes that efforts will be followed up with engagements by Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange with entertainment stakeholders and Labour and Social Security Minister Shahini Robinson to dissect the broad range of issues and ultimately address all concerns. And when we come back, Petrojam head justifies $12 million annual salary for the company's human resource manager. This and more after the break. Welcome back. Representatives from Petrojam were grilled by members of Parliament's Public Administration and Appropriation Committee PAAC this morning as they were forced to justify a $12 million annual salary being paid to the company's human resource manager. Jamila Maitland reports.
Petrojam's General Manager Floyd Grindley told the PAAC members that the company previously had a human resource HR manager and an industrial relations IR consultant. However, when the new HR manager was hired, they decided to merge the roles.
The compensation for the previous HR manager was $9.5 million. However, $9.5 million was paid to the HR manager, but we also had a IR consultant that supported that HR manager, the previous HR manager, that we paid approximately $5.2 million for the year. The current HR manager is not complemented with a IR consultant because of her skill set and the experience that she is bringing to Petrojam.
Mr. Grindley emphasized the skill set that the new HR manager brought to the table, which he said has significantly benefited the company. But PAAC members weren't satisfied with the explanation. Fitz-Jackson questioned the new human resource manager's qualifications.
What degree certificate that the person holds coming to the position, what is her experience before, where she served, how many years of service, number of employees degrees, in the former employment, that allows you to establish that she has the skill set.
Other members were concerned that with Petrojam already over budget, the sustainability of the company may be impacted by lucrative salaries such as this one.
I would want to caution that in addition to salary rate related issues that we can't help with, it would be good to still make the effort to get people to a place that they are willing, like we are as members of parliament, to work at lower salaries, because like MPs, teachers, police officers, we're at a place where we understand that we have a duty to country as well, so that we're not sitting here another time and we hear 20 people have gone from Petrojam just on the basis of money alone.
Mr. Grindley is expected to give an update to the committee regarding the qualifications of the HR manager within 2 weeks. For BATV News, I'm Jamila Maitland.
National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says his ministry will be using music, sports and technology as a crime-fighting strategy that will target youth in vulnerable communities. Minister Chang was making his contribution to the 2018-2019 sectoral debate in Parliament yesterday. Sashana Small reports.
The Security Minister, while acknowledging the impact music, sports and technology has on the youth, says his ministry will use these tools to change young people's antisocial behavior.
Effective youth engagement from a crime prevention perspective involves relevant activities that can positively change antisocial behavior. Music, Mr. Speaker, is the soul of all Jamaicans. Sports and technology can attract all our young men and young women, have proven to mold and shape the social exchange and mindset of Jamaican youth. I believe it's safe to say that every Jamaican who loves music and sports and is fascinated with technology. If we introduce them at this stage, we can engage them positively.
He says his ministry will solicit the guidance of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, to implement the program, and it will first target the unattached youth in St. James.
The ministry has embarked, Mr. Speaker, on development of integrated social intervention strategy and action plan for selected communities, starting in St. James and the guidance of the Planning Institute of Jamaica. The intention is to stimulate pro-social values, attitudes and behavior among our unattached youth. This approach, Mr. Speaker, will re-socialize antisocial mindsets and promote respect for self, others, and the community. The concept of music, sports, and technology will be implemented through partnerships across all sectors in the vulnerable communities.
The program will also include partnerships with various sectors and will see the establishment of Wi-Fi-supported homework centers in these vulnerable communities.
The concept of music, sports, and technology will be implemented through partnerships across all sectors in the vulnerable communities. We'll focus on promoting public order, enhancing access to social amenities such as Wi-Fi-supported homework and recreational zones and social capital in vulnerable communities.
The minister says the program, which is part of the government's 5-point plan to tackle crime, is expected to be completed during this financial year.
The strategy, Mr. Speaker, will be pursued through application of crime prevention through environmental design principles. We intend to develop and complete this program in the course of this financial year. The government is committed to building better and safer communities and improving the quality of life of all Jamaican citizens. This approach will no doubt engage our youth to become productive members of our society.
For BATV News, I'm Shoshana Small.
The zones of special operations, those in Mount Salem, St. James and Denham Town in West Kingston, will be extended by a further 60 days. The House of Representatives approved 2 resolutions for the extensions yesterday. The resolutions were moved by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. This is the 5th extension for the Mount Salem zone, which became operational on September 1, 2017, while it will be the 4th for Denham Town. Prime Minister Holness said the extensions are necessary as the progress made in the 2 communities must be allowed to continue. He noted that in Denham Town, which was declared as the 2nd Zozo in October 2017, the Joint Security Forces have to a significant extent maintained security within the boundaries of the community. Prime Minister Holness said that as the community continues to be guided through the build phase, the Joint Force will maintain the security of the zone in order to ensure that a suite of social intervention programs can be effectively and safely implemented to benefit the residents. For Mount Salem, Prime Minister Holness noted that implementation of the Zozo has been seen as a success by the residents, who he said have been the largest supporters of the intervention. The Law Reform Act gives the Prime Minister the power to declare an area as zones of special operation in order to tackle increased crime and volatility and implement social intervention measures. This is done in consultation with the National Security Council. The zone can only be established after the Police Commissioner and the Chief of Defense Staff make a request for such a declaration in writing to the Prime Minister. Commuters were stuck in traffic for an extended period this afternoon as they tried to either enter or leave Spanish Town in St. Catherine. The area is under a state of emergency, and it's believed that increased processing time as the security conducted more detailed searches led to the delays. Javon Keys tells us more.
Many would believe that this is peak hour bumper-to-bumper traffic heading out of Spanish Town, but it is not. It was only early afternoon and commuters were already experiencing gridlock. Many blamed the processing and spot checking of motor vehicles being done by the security forces under the state of public emergency. The police were conducting more detailed searches and checks than in previous days. Alvin Price, a motorist, said he was in the line for over an hour, and since the establishment of the state of emergency, this is the worst the traffic has ever been.
Affecting you? I have been in the line for over an hour and can't move. And I don't understand why when this thing started over months ago, it was never like this. And then so I don't know what is happening today. And there's not even police because the bus and the taxi drivers are creating havoc in the inner city because they can't get out.
Another motorist also complained about the vehicles which refused to stay in line.
I believe we have been sitting here for about an hour now, just trying to get ahead. My assumption is that they are searching the vehicles, and it doesn't help that in searching the vehicles they don't put some kind of principle in place for the cars that are going on the other side and breaking it.
She suggested the use of roving police officers to make the processing much quicker.
This is my first time experiencing it. I know that it is so. I get what they're trying to do. So while I have no issues, but you cannot shut people down like this. So maybe you need to have more than one. Maybe what you need to do is have a fleet of walking policemen that are searching the cars as they're coming down, so that instead of one point, as you get to that one point, you stop and check. Maybe what they can do is deploy a couple of police. So you search several vehicles, and then once you search, so those go through.
In the meantime, one conductor who plies the Spanish Town to Bayside Portmore route said the traffic has caused him to lose a number of trips.
Right now, it's a mash up my thing. The beer bus a catch me, others a catch up for me. Now I just make the right amount of money I make. So right now, we are looking for this cut out. Wicked, a wheel and a green there, each one stoplight switch in a Spanish Town. A 2 and 3 and 4 hour in a line of traffic.
Another who works the Old Harbour to downtown Kingston route blamed the media for the increased security checks.
I media cars because them come by here, come say so that they now work. Because checkpoint ain't too free. And brand that knows what they must fight me. You know how long me in traffic, what I know? After 2, in traffic both ran 2 minutes after 1.
For BATV News, I'm Javon Keys.
And stay with us. Regional and international stories are up next. Welcome back. Time now for regional and international news. A war between the Bahamas government and the Bahamas Gaming Operators Organization is looming. The gaming operators say they will sue the government over new taxes being imposed, while the government says bring on the lawsuit. More in this report.
If they sue, they'll be fought in court.
That was the promise made by Attorney General Carl Bethel outside Cabinet Tuesday as gaming operators have made clear their intentions to bring suit against the government. The Minister administration has proposed a new tax regime for the gaming industry that would see the taxation of up to 50% of profits made by operators. It's how this back and forth between the two sides started, and gaming operators are holding steadfast to their claims of discrimination.
This is nothing more than economic profiling, and it's most unfortunate.
That was head of the Bahamas Gaming Operators Association, Gershon Major, who insists the issue comes down to a matter of color. But the Attorney General insists otherwise, echoing the sentiments of Deputy Prime Minister Peter Turnquest, who had earlier shot down the assertion as well. There has also emerged the notion that this form of taxation could lead gaming houses to once again take their operations underground. To that, a very defensive Attorney General said this.
If they go underground, they'll be dug up. We have a whole arsenal of new powers under the Proceeds of Crime Act to deal with persons who decide that they want to break the law. So we're not worried about whether they try and go underground, break the law, or go to court. Our tax rates have been benchmarked against what the standard rates of taxing of gaming in other jurisdictions, both in this region and internationally. You'll notice that nothing they've said attacked that fact.
On that position, Eyewitness News presented the Attorney General with the argument put forth by gaming operators who say the way gaming operations are set up in other jurisdictions differs entirely from the way the local industry is regulated. In particular, the Gaming Association points out that those countries that the government has used as benchmarks have national lotteries. Well, still on the defense and obviously bothered, the Attorney General responded with rolled eyes and a raised voice.
And they also have income tax too. And corporate taxes too. Okay? They also have a host of other taxation that affects gaming operators that we do not have. So don't argue about apples and oranges. Because if you want to talk about orange, I can say what affects the orange. We're talking about the Bahamas now, and the effective rate of taxation, never mind in what form it takes, is on par with other jurisdictions. I compared it to the other jurisdictions in terms of the effective rate of taxation, not what the particular tax was here or what the particular tax was there. They would wish to do that and focus only on those taxes that apply where there's a national lottery. But my broader point is that the effective rate of taxation paid by gaming operators in other jurisdictions is no lower than that we propose in the Bahamas.
A federal judge in the United States today approved the blockbuster merger between AT&T and Time Warner, rebuffing the government's effort to stop the $85.4 billion deal. More in this report.
It's a ruling that could change the face of the U.S. media landscape. After nearly 2 years of waiting, AT&T and Time Warner will finally get to seal the deal on their $85 billion merger.
On behalf of everyone at AT&T and Time Warner, we are gratified with the court's decision to categorically reject the government's bid to block this historic merger.
Both household names in the U.S., the two companies play different roles in the entertainment supply chain. Cable company Time Warner creates content. Telecommunications giant AT&T distributes it. Content like the hit show Game of Thrones on HBO, or news broadcasts from CNN. Under the merger, the Time Warner channels will now be controlled by AT&T. It seals the company's transformation into a media powerhouse, joining the likes of Amazon and Netflix as both distributor and creator. Deals between non-competing companies are usually accepted by the U.S. government. But the Trump administration had argued the AT&T Time Warner merger would raise prices for viewers.
We're going to read the opinion and see what the next steps are. We're obviously disappointed with the goodness decision.
The court's approval of the deal opens the door to a wave of new mergers, like the dream of cable company Comcast to buy the media corporation 21st Century Fox.
Stay with us. Talking Stocks comes up next. Welcome back. Time now for Talking Stocks. 42 stocks traded today, of which 21 advanced, 15 declined, and 6 traded firm. The main JSE index advanced by 625 points to close at over 306,765 points. The junior index declined by 31 points to close at over 3,007 points. Over 5.7 million units traded today, valued at $52.5 million on the Jamaican dollar market, while on the US dollar market, 74,305 units traded, valued at $42,963 US. Lasco Manufacturing, with over 2.6 million units changing hands, accounted for 46% of market volume. Wisynco Group was second with over 1 million units trading, and the JMMB Group ordinary shares with over 358,000 units trading accounted for 6% of market volume crossing the floor. KLE Group was the top advancer, up 18 cents to close at $2.95, followed by Caribbean Producers Jamaica CPJ, up 27 cents to close at $5.23, and Main Event Entertainment Group, up 34 cents to close at $8. The main decliners were Access Financial Services, down $5.77 to close at $45.88, followed by Kingston Properties, down 65 cents to close at $5.35, and Knutsford Express Services, down $1.28 to close at $11.52. And that's the news for this evening. But before we go, a recap of our top story. The Jamaica Public Service Company says it is pumping $30 million into efforts to detect, prevent, and respond more efficiently to instances of electricity theft. Thanks for watching. For more content, please visit our website at batvja.com. I'm Kenil Gale. Pleasant viewing.